Hi. It is Saturday, November 18th. I did my before pictures today for my health slash weight loss journey thing, whatever it's going to be. I just want a comparison for before. I did those pictures today. I put them in quotes because I actually started walking at the beginning of October when I moved. And so I'm like a month and a half in. So it's not a true before. It's before enough for me because I don't think there's been any actual weight loss. I definitely feel different in my body, and I do see that some of my fat is loosening up, or becoming like, it feels empty. It feels light and jiggly, I guess, as opposed to more solid. So anyways, I'm going to share the pictures here in a minute. But I'm a little bit scared to show them. Like, even though I'm going to do it anyway. But I'm a bit afraid, right? Because what if the people who I respect and care for the most suddenly stop treating me the same? Like, what if they treat me differently now that they've truly seen exactly how big I am? And what if they treat me differently? What if they lose respect for me? And I've been treated differently in my life based on my size. It's hard at work for people to take me seriously compared to other people. There's a preconception that fat people are lazy, aren't smart, and yeah, we generally get paid less and blah, blah, blah. There's lots of research on that, and I'm not going to talk about all of that crap today, but I'm still afraid that people are going to treat me differently when they really see. I do stream on Twitch, and the people who stream, who come to my stream, my community, they're great people, but they only ever see from like here. And for the first couple years, I wore a green suit, so they didn't even see this. So they don't really know what's happening kind of below the desk, right? And so for me, yeah, it makes me a little nervous for people finding it. And I've also been had an experience on Twitch where a person who called themselves my friend has talked a lot of shit on me in Discord, private Discords, and in DMs to my other friends, and mocked me, essentially. And I'm 100% sure that that person, if they saw this video, would also mock me. But you want to know what? That person's a shitty person. That's just how it is. So I'm not really going to let that person ever stop me from doing something like this. So anyways, I'm going to post them here. Editing me is going to put them somewhere on the screen. Here's me. So one of them is the front picture of me, so what I look like from the front, and the other one is me from the side with my belly kind of hanging out under my, like, I pulled the underwear down so you can see the belly. I think that's called an apron. I'm not fully all up on all of the lingo for, in the fat acceptance community or anything like that. I'm not a person that's in that community. I don't really want to be in that community. I find that my brushes with the acceptance or the love at any size or the whatever at any size, basically the body positivity movement, I found it to be overly toxic and hateful. And I don't want to be any part of that. Like, I don't hate people who are fat. I don't treat people differently for being fat. I am a fat person. I don't suffer from the same things as every other person does, because every single person is different when it comes to what their issues are. I can relate to some of it. Like, I know who Amberlynn Reed is because I watch YouTube and it comes up a fair bit. But I don't follow those spaces very much at all. Now, there are two creators that are kind of away from that movement, but still talk about that community. So like Obese to Beast, I think his name is. I can't remember. I subscribe, but I don't remember his name. He's somebody that I'll watch. And I also like this other creator named Sam at Every Size. But they do commentary on the fat acceptance community, which I don't really know a lot about. So this wasn't supposed to be a video about that, but we're going to talk about it briefly anyway. I found that when I stumbled into it, not really into it, when I discovered what it was, I was like, oh, body positivity, this sounds great. It's a great message. Let's all love each other and let's be okay with people being the size that they are. Can I accept myself for being the size that I am in an environment or in a social place, in a society where being this large is not generally considered acceptable, right? And I grew up, so not grew up, but I went to high school in the early 90s. So heroin chic was all the thing. I was never that thin. I've always been athletically built. So I've always had thicker legs and bigger muscle mass and never thin. If I can find a digital picture of what I was like in high school, I'll put them up here on the screen. I'll have to find them though, so no promises. Might be good for me to reference further though, so I'll try to find them and put them up. But I've never really been, I didn't fit that body type, and so yeah, so the whole idea on the surface of the body positivity I can't even talk, the body positivity movement sounds great, but when you look a little deeper, it's not. They're just a bunch of people who seem angry all the time, and they're complaining and saying they're healthy, but here's the deal. You might be healthy now, but you're not going to be healthy later. And you want to know how I know? Because I live it. I'm 48 years old. I'm about 330 pounds. I don't have a lot of medical issues yet. Let me say it again. I don't have a lot of medical issues yet. But I have some. You can look at my legs. So some of this is hereditary. So I do have severe obesity in my genes, in my family history. My biological uncle is 500 to 600 pounds, easy, maybe even more. He's had both of his lower legs amputated, so they've both been amputated just below the knee. He has he got his legs amputated because of diabetes, but we also have an issue in the family when it comes to legs with pitting edema and then all the complications that come with that. My legs hold a lot of fluid, and like they will leak fluid sometimes, just clear white water. It happens. Like it feels like sweat, but it doesn't smell like sweat, but they'll get glistening. And when you press on them, it will leave a dent, right? So, and they're starting to like overtake my ankles, my calves are. So I'm going to have to wear compression stockings at some point. I need to go get fitted for them. I need to talk to the doctor more about that. The doctor was more concerned about my salt intake. So, and this is one of the things, this is what happens when you get older and you're big. So now you're going to have other complications, right? Like I have problems with my legs because I have a hereditary issue. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to sit there and feed into that, be like, oh, well, it's hereditary. No, there's a lot of stuff I can do about it. And I'm going to talk to the doctor more about it. We were more concerned about other things the last time I was at the doctor for like health things. My doctor's concerned about my sodium intake. I'm a salty snack kind of girl. I have to give a lot of that up, so I'm not to add extra salt to any of my food, and I should try to look for low salt alternatives. I really have to cut down the sodium. The sodium obviously is going to retain water and fluid in my legs, which are now getting worse instead of better. I also have to increase my exercise because that's going to help the fluid move around the body a little bit more and hopefully get out of the legs, right? So there's stuff that I can do. I guess what I'm saying is just because it's in your family history is not really an excuse for you to not do anything about it, right? It's going to be bad for me very soon if I don't do something about it before. Like I woke up at the age of 45-ish. I woke up one day and everything was different. I don't know why. I'm going to call it aging, right? I think it's just because I got old. And I literally woke up one day and my body just felt different. The weight of the gravity of this world was impacting me. My joints all pop and crack and snap all of the time now, my knees specifically. That old knee injury that I had from playing sports that I then exacerbated when I drove lift trucks in the warehouse for years, that thing really, really, really hurts now, like all of the time. And it does impact when I'm walking and it does get stiff, right? So that makes exercise more difficult. But does that mean I'm going to not do it? No, it means I have to do it. It means I have to continue to do it because that's not going to get better if I don't do something about it. And the weight is not going to help that. So it's just, I woke up one day, I was old, and it all kind of caught up to me. And so what I can see now is that in a few more years, I'm in for a world of hurt if I don't get some of this weight off my body. I am not after a number on the scale. I am not after inches off my body. I am after a feeling within me, one, to accept myself, but the other one is about how I feel in my body and how I move around this world and how I navigate just being here. So it's about the health benefits mostly. That's why I don't own a scale, because I don't want to fixate on the numbers, right? I'm not counting calories right now because that's not the point. For me, I'm going to start with routine. So I need to really, really, really make sure that I'm strict with my routine and that I'm going to the gym and that I'm getting enough exercise in. Do I do it regularly like I'm supposed to? I haven't been able to get 5 days every single week for the past 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, for the past 2 weeks. But I have made sure that I've gone out at least twice. So that is still 2 more than I was 6 months ago. That's 2 more walkings than I did 6 months ago. So that's already an improvement, but we need to make sure that we're doing it more regular. And I'm going to use we as me. I'm going to do it more regularly. That is what I'm working on. That is my goal, is to build that routine so that I can at least be getting exercise. I'll do the rest a little bit. So I'm going to small baby steps this thing, right? But I'm going to go to the doctor as soon as I get one, because I moved. I don't have a general practitioner, so I don't have a family doctor right now. I have to go on a list. For all the things that Canadian healthcare is good about, this part is the bad part. And then Doug Ford really screwed our healthcare up, and I'll talk about that another day. I don't want to deal with him today. But anyways, getting back to this whole thing. So the reason why that I want to focus on getting better in my body and feeling better in my body and generally being healthier is because of the fact that I'm getting older, and it kind of caught up with me, and I don't want to suddenly have heart problems and asthma and all of these other issues that they're going to happen. They are going to happen. It is a matter of time at this point, and I definitely feel the ticking time bomb. And I think that people who sit around and say that it's okay to be 600 pounds and that it's healthy, I think they're wrong, and I think they're lying. I'm about 330 pounds. Maybe I'm more than that, but I'm about 330 pounds. And I'm not healthy. So I couldn't imagine being healthy at 600. It's a lie, and you know that, and you're telling yourself that lie. Stop lying to yourself. It will catch up with you. I am proof. It will catch up with you. Anyway, so we're working on the routine thing. But the reasons why, if I'm being 100% honest, the reasons why I want to focus on this, other than the health thing and it's catching up with me, so that's a big issue. Let's put that aside. Let's talk about the emotional impact, right? As I want to be fuckable. I don't really know a better way to say it. And the truth is that in my relationship and my marriage, I wasn't wanted physically, and I didn't fit what his type was either. So it's weird because he always really liked really thin Asian women. And I'm the opposite of that. Red hair, not dark hair. I'm 5'5", not 5'2". I weigh 300 pounds, not 80 pounds, and I'm why would you even remotely go for me if that's what you're interested in? And so it was always this I was never good enough, and I was always rejected. And then eventually the sex stopped entirely, and at least it stopped for me. He would do whatever he wanted to do, of course. But it was 20 years worth of rejection. And then I started trying to date online or through dating apps. And if I wasn't ghosted, the reason I was told that they wouldn't be pursuing anything with me was because I was fat. I literally was told, you're too fat to be dateable, by numerous people. So, that's their truth, right? Good on them for being honest, I guess. And also good on them for telling me. I'd rather be told than ghosted. Ghosting does weird things with my anxiety because it makes it a big unknown. But yeah, it's hurtful to read. It's hurtful to hear. But the truth of the matter is they're not wrong if that's what they want, right? And then so the question is, well, what, you don't want a person that's like that. Maybe I do. Because what I definitely don't want is to be fetishized. I don't want to be someone's fetish. I don't want any involvement with people wanting to feed me or make me bigger or anything like that. So I don't want to be remotely around that. I don't want to be an object for somebody. I want to be a person, an equal partner in a relationship. I want to be loved. I want to feel love. I want to give love. I want it to be equal. And I think that when you're someone's fetish and you're worshipped or like fetishized, like there's an imbalance in the power and the dynamic of the relationship that I'm not interested in having. I would rather be alone than be someone's fetish. So yeah. And I think there's a much bigger chance for me to only get people who are interested in fat girls if I am fat, right? I'd rather not be with somebody who's like that. So that's me. If you like it, good for you. I'm not going to fetish shame people, but it's not for me. It's not for me at all. But I think one of the other reasons too, or the biggest reason other than those two are pretty big, but let's talk about the other one. It's actually difficult to navigate this world being fat. And you'll hear people talk about it a little bit. I've heard some, like YouTube shorts or TikToks, or like I said, I watched the Obese to Beast and Sam at Every Size. So you'll hear them talk when they're doing their commentating. You'll hear them talk about how people will say that that the world needs to adjust or adapt to big people. And while there is something to be said about an average size overall increasing, and so the world, like toilets will have to be made bigger and shower stalls and blah, 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 when the average increases. But it doesn't, I don't think that people need to cater, right? I don't think the world should cater to the above average. It should be to the average person. But when my move happened, I'm going to be 100% frank here. My toilet is smaller. The area in which I have to navigate wiping my ass is smaller, and it's more difficult. So, if I could lose 50 pounds, it probably wouldn't be so difficult to do a simple task. And this is something I've never heard somebody admit. It is not easy to wipe your own ass when you are large. I'm flexible, and I sometimes struggle. That's the truth of it. So I don't know how bigger people than me do it. I don't have a clue. I remember I was watching Dr. Phil one day, and there was a woman on there that hated fat people. And they were the audience, and everybody was booing her, and they had a fat guest there who was 500 and something pounds, I think she said she was. I remember the conversation. The woman who was thin looked at her and said, "How do you wipe your ass?" And the audience booed. And I was like, yeah, actually tell me how you wipe your ass, because what's the technique you're using? Like, how do you do it? I want to know, because it's difficult for me sometimes, given the amount of space I have to lean and to not lean and to maneuver. There's maneuvering that has to happen, right? And then what happens one day when my ass is so big that I actually can't reach around anymore? Like, what's that going to be like? So I can't get any bigger, in my opinion, because that's really going to start to impact me. Moving around my shower, the shower stall is smaller at, well, not the stall, like it's a tub, but it is smaller than at my other place. So like the actual tub, and I haven't been able to take a bath in a lot of years because I don't fit in the bathtub, and I'd love to be able to have a bath, right? But that's a thing you can't do when you're fat unless you have a really big bathtub, and you have to go buy a custom one. And so like my day-to-day life is actually impacted by my size. And I'm not even as big as some people are. So I don't know where I fit on the fat scale. I don't know, like I've heard this like I don't even know. Apparently there's different classifications for being fat. I don't know where I fall on that. I'm not into this logo or like not logo. I'm not into the lingo of this community or anything. But I'm having difficulties. So when people who are larger than me, they have to be having the same problems too, but worse. And then the other big thing that I don't like about being fat is, so I have the belly roll, and you can see it in my pictures, right? So under the belly roll, I have sensitive skin. Like I'm supposed to use like the baby soap like detergent for my clothes. I'm supposed to use the baby stuff because if I don't, I get a rash. I can't use maxi pads because I get diaper rash. That's always been the case for me my whole life. So going to the gym and having a fat roll means I can get like rashes that can then like, I imagine they could probably ulcer if I couldn't keep them clean and dry. But if I get sweaty, like after I moved, the day that I moved, the next day, I was raw under there. Like raw enough that I couldn't put the band of my underwear under my belly flap because it would make it bleed. So when I get a rash or it gets slightly uncomfortable there, I put diaper cream on my body. So because I'm fat, at the age of 48, I have to wear diaper cream in my fat rolls to keep them from getting like infections and whatnot, just because I happen to sweat because I was trying to be more active. So why don't they talk about this stuff? Why don't fat people talk about these things? Because it's kind of gross. Right? And then if I'm not keeping it totally clean, oh my God, what if it gets smelly? This is a fear of mine. And I don't want people to get too close to me because what if I smell? What if my fat roll smells? What if they can smell it one day? What if I didn't wipe my ass good enough? What if I couldn't clean my ass good enough? What if like showering at someone else's house who doesn't have a wand is really difficult to do because how am I going to clean my ass? Like, I've talked a lot about asses today, but that's the truth of it. Like I struggle to put my shoes on because I have to, and my socks on because I have to lift my leg up. And sometimes that means taking my pant leg and pulling my leg up onto my knee. Cutting my toenails is difficult. Like, I can't put cream on my back. Although, to be fair, I think a lot of people, if they're not really bendy, can't put cream on their own backs either. But, anyway. Like, there's so many things. I can't go on different things because of my size. And that's where I know I have definitely seen fat people complaining. Like, somebody, I don't know who it was, wanted the hallways to be wider. Like, what? It's a hallway. Like, just how wide do they need to be? And then, like, I haven't flown anywhere because I know I'll probably have to get 2 seats. Maybe. Because trying to squeeze into them was going to be tough. I'm afraid of folding chairs. I don't want to sit on those because I don't want them to collapse on me because that could happen. But normal chairs, people don't just collapse on, right? So, yeah, it's just difficult. It's difficult navigating this world as somebody who's large. And I'm over it, I guess. I'd like to be a better size. So, and I'm not saying I'm going to be thin or anything, but I would like to be a better size. And so, yeah, what's keeping me fat, though, is lack of inactivity. Or not lack of inactivity, is total inactivity, right? It's the lack of activity that's making me big. And it kind of all spirals after that. I don't have an issue with anorexia. I've tried, or restrictive eating, I guess. I have tried, and this is me being honest, I have tried numerous times in my life to become anorexic. Apparently, it's not easy to just pick up an eating disorder or something. It's almost like it's in your brain and not so much about, just a habit. So I've failed at becoming anorexic numerous times because the thought was always, oh, if I put it in my mouth, it's going to end up on my body as fat. And that's not the case with 100% of the time with people. I also don't have the other kind of extreme, which is binge eating. I don't tend to binge eat. Like, for example, yesterday I bought 4 pieces of chicken. I only ate 2 of them, and the other 2 are in the fridge, and I'll eat them later tonight for dinner. Now, do I always eat good quality food? No, I like some fast food too, the same way everybody else does. But I do cook most of my meals on my own. Every once in a while, I'll give myself, like once a week or so, I usually treat myself to some fast food or dinner out or something, right? But most of the time, I just cook myself food. Is it always the most healthy stuff? No. Can I do better that way? Yes. Do I want to? Not right now. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not ready to give up full carbs, right? I don't want to do a full keto diet. I don't want to do that yet. So for me, establishing routine around exercise is my first step. And then if I need to actually like start restricting food as far as what I'm eating, then I will. I do small things. Like I do tend to eat more meat than carbs when I'm cooking my foods. For instance, I'm going to have just tuna. So I'll take some tuna and put mayonnaise in it. A little bit of mayonnaise, not a lot. A little bit of mayonnaise and some onion in it, and then that'll be food for me. Like that's something that I enjoy. It's usually what I like to eat for lunchtime. Like at lunch, I like that a lot. That's high protein, but it's got some fat because it's got the mayonnaise in it and stuff. And I enjoy salads, and I do eat salads. I'm one of those people that can be fat and eat nothing but salad. But yeah, there's work I could do there as far as my diet goes. My niece went full vegan. She lost a lot of weight doing that. Man, that's so much work. And honestly, I like meat. So I don't know if I could go full vegan. But when I do hang out with her and I go over to her house and stuff, and she cooks really well. She's learned to cook very well. And I enjoy eating the foods that she prepares. And so she does a pretty good job. And my nephew, so her husband, my nephew-in-law, he eats vegan with her, but when he's at work, at lunchtime, he'll eat meat. So he's a little bit more vegan now than he used to be. But I'm not ready for that. She is always trying to get me into her vegan lifestyle. Can I interest you in a vegan lifestyle? She says to me, and I'm like, no, stop selling me on your MLM. I'm not doing it. But there might come a time when I need to do it more. But she'll give me some recipes occasionally for, foods for snacks. The biggest thing that I do is I try to limit the snacks that are coming into the house. So if I don't buy it, I don't have it to eat. Smile. So the salty snacks are my biggest thing. Chips were my most favorite snack, and I have to give them up. So I limit myself on that. And that's because doctor's orders, right? So yeah, anyway. What did we learn today? We saw how big I am. We saw my disgusting legs that I'm embarrassed about. We talked about how I sometimes have difficulty wiping my ass. I have to take a lot of time to get that butthole clean so that, I'm not being gross. We talked about how I have rashes that I have to put diaper cream on. Yeah, it's been a great video. Anyway, this is the before, I guess, or the start of it. And let's see where it goes and what I can do. It's not going to be the focus of this channel. I will talk about it occasionally, but it's not my focus. So anyway, I think that's it for today. I don't know how long I rambled on for. Almost 30 minutes. That's good. All right, I'll see you guys another day. Bye.